Sure.
Hi guys, here we are. You can see 3 screens on the screen at the moment, so we're waving. There's Gemma up there, there's me, and of all people, I cannot believe this, but down there is Elliot Easton of the Cars and the Empty Hearts. Elliot, hello.
From faraway California.
Well, a bit warmer and probably nicer than here, but hey ho, you know.
I don't think so. It's pretty. It's damp and chilly. It's very British weather. Actually.
Not how
But
we
we're doing
imagine.
good. How are you guys passing the time there?
Oh, well, I spent the day trying to rig this up. Sorry, Ed, you go, Gemma.
No, we're stuck indoors at the moment, Elliot. I'm not sure of the situation in California where you are, but we're on lockdown and we're all sitting inside. And so this is like a really amazing thing to be able to talk to people and to interact with everybody like this. It's just an amazing opportunity.
I agree. It's so nice to connect with people around the world. We're all going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Here in LA, you know, I had to go do some grocery shopping yesterday, and they're just letting sort of one person in as one person comes out, and like 20 people allowed in the store at a time, and you know, no paper products at all, or not much fresh food left. And
that's not good.
No, but you know, we're all kind of in the same situation. I hope you have a leader that understands the seriousness of it a little bit better than ours.
Yeah, I think they're not doing too bad compared to your leader.
You guys get the press conferences where all he does is sort of talk about what a great job he's doing?
Like, we see them,
Yeah.
Isn't it bizarre? It's like, it's not an opportunity to sort of like, you know, promote yourself. It's not a political.
Yeah, he's a businessman though, Elliot. Do you know what I mean? It's about, he's always you know, or everything's always good. You know what I mean? He can't be seen to be wrong. Does that make sense? It's a weird thing, you know.
He's also, it's this narcissistic thing where everything is about whether he's done a good job or whether everything's fine. He didn't even know if his own property, Mar-a-Lago, was shut. And if you remember, the Brazilian delegate caught the virus there.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, it's very weird, man. I mean, you know, I've never seen a stranger time in our country.
No, it's very George Orwell and very 1984 and kind of that kind of thing. Let's get on to some fun things, though. You've got that guitar in your hand. Are you going to play something, or have you got?
Well, you know, I was thinking about it and thinking about you guys and stuff, and I thought maybe a little bit of Junior Walker's Cleo's Mood might be a nice way to start.
Yeah, go for it. Play a bit.
Nice.
Yeah. Elliot, that was absolutely fabulous. Thank you for that. That was good fun.
That's an effort.
So Elliot,
Yeah, I tried to do a little thing, but Andy we didn't pass it on.
Oh yeah, I should have done that at the same time.
That's a good dance number.
So Elliot, I know you because I got a random phone call in my car once, and you were phoning up and saying, "Hey, are you the guy that can help me get some Brian Jones shoes?"
Yeah.
Tell us why the Brian Jones shoes.
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know if you had this album in the UK, but their first greatest hits album was called High Tide and Green Grass.
Yeah, I know
Hits.
that.
And it was a gatefold sleeve with a big booklet inside with lots of large photos.
Yep, yep.
And around 65, it seemed like the whole, really not just Brian, but the whole front line of the Stones were wearing those sort of white shoes with the black piping. And there were a lot of images inside that booklet, like Keith playing a Gibson Hummingbird acoustic. And from that moment, I had to have a hummingbird. But Brian, just in general, I think probably Brian and George Harrison were the best dressed pop stars.
Oh, but and some. George is just amazing.
And I'll give it to Marriott too, even if it cost him his entire fortune to wear clothes. According to Don Arden, he spent all his money on Carnaby Street. But I always thought Brian and George were the clothes horses of the.
They were. There's some absolutely amazing pictures of George, isn't there? He's
fabulous photos. They're like, wow. When you look at them, you just think they're standing out of the time, sort of thing.
It's the greatest. It's still. I think personally, and we talk about this sometimes. It's a difference between fashion and style.
Yeah.
So for instance, I'm not so interested necessarily in what the current fashion is, but more interested in having a style.
Yeah.
Right? Or having your own style or whatever, being influenced by some other people to have a style. And I still think that mid 60s to late 60s period of British clothing and style and design is just some of the most flattering to the male form. Let's put it that way.
I think it never really ends, does it, Andy? Like that style is still going and it's still apparent now in this day and age. And like even the youngsters of today are now modeling themselves on that mod fashion now and things like that. Yeah.
And it always looks good. It always looks right.
It does look very good on them. There's some argument in the mod scene, which when we go on some of our forums, where they say slightly portly men. That don't look quite as good, but that's why why we do these sort of shirts, because I think, well, I'm that audience, so I want things that remind me of the 60s but still look good. So like the monkey jackets you've had, Elliot, you've had a couple of monkey jackets off us, and the rally jacket. I don't want a jacket that screams, but I want a jacket that makes me look, hey, that jacket's pretty cool.
The 10 people who might get it will smile, and that's all that matters,
Yeah, totally. So,
I mean, if you compare it to, if you go into a shopping in a normal store today, and everything, if it isn't sort of that Japanese streetwear thing, it's still the hip hop holdover of things 5 sizes too large. And, guys are still walking around here with their boxer shorts hanging out of their jeans.
We have it too. Have you got the thing where the jeans have got gaps in the front, like with the big holes in the front? Bit like, who wears that, Gemma? Who's it? Is it I want to say Beyonce, but it's not. Who is it?
I mean, I've got some of those jeans, Andy. Maybe.
But I saw a girl on holiday.
I'm a bit eclectic with everything, with clothing, with music, with everything, and I have different styles on how I'm feeling, I suppose. So, I like the hip hop style, but I also love the mod style, and I love the classic style. I love to put a suit on. I love to wear a nice dress. Like I have loads of different styles.
I hear you, and there's some things in the Japanese streetwear things that I like. Like I go on End Clothing over in England, and I love like the Japanese. There's a sneaker brand called Visvim that look like moccasins. You know the one? Indian moccasin kind of shoe on a running shoe platform, but it's like a slouchy kind of suede with lacing, and it's so cool. There's some good stuff, but just generally, it's tough to
what I find interesting about this is I talk to you fairly frequently now online. You all the way from America. You have to contact some bloke in Peterborough
Yeah.
to try and get some shoes. That's just like madness, you know. It's
Well,
good.
it's not as mad as having to send your measurements to some guy in London and having a suit made up in Thailand.
Yeah.
or
yeah.
what is it? Mod shopping?
Yeah. It's a good one. Elliot, let me get you onto some music because I just want to talk about music. I first heard you as a child or a kid because I would have been about 10 or 11 when my best friend's girl was played on the radio. I remember hearing that played on the radio. It's a favourite in our here. We have it on every Christmas. We have it on. It's one of our songs. Generally after Bowling for Soup, Bet My Girl and the Bad Guys won. Then you come on, and then there's kind of half a dozen that kind of American sounding pop sort of stuff.
I love it.
Do you hear this often? People say this to you often? Do you have any anecdotes on that?
As far as the lyrically best friends go, people usually hit me about the guitar stuff, and so they're there's that hook we call a hook that recurs after every chorus. I'll play it. Wait, I've got a guitar here.
Yeah.
If I see if I could do this bit.
Yeah.
Well, and people, talk to me about, and so someone told me a long time ago, amateurs copy, professionals steal. And so that lick is, na, na, da, da, na, da, 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 da,
It's I Will by the Beatles, yeah.
Anyway, it goes. And that lick is sort of in there, and I sort of adapted it. It's not exactly the same, but that was part of the inspiration for it.
But everybody's done it, Elliot. It's kind of But what I wanted to ask about it is, where did you get to play it? Did you get to play it on Japanese TV? Did you go to Germany? Where's some of the places or unusual places you ended up playing at?
Oh, you mean with the Cars?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first thing that pops into my mind is Live Aid. That was just a crazy day from both sides, from London and from Philadelphia. And that was so exciting, unbelievable. I was just standing there watching, everybody, Led Zeppelin reunion and on and on and on. Eric Clapton.
You were in very good company that day. There was some. It was just like, I remember you coming on, and I've spoken briefly to you about it before, where you when they showed you, and they obviously did the Drive bit, and they played Drive, and it's the line, is it? Who's going to say that? And it's no good worrying if you can't go on thinking nothing's wrong, and then they showed those clips. Elliot, that was just like, I remember being 16, watching that on the TV, and just like, man, that's powerful. That's the power of music, and that's just Did it for you? Was that strange, or did it the days after the concert was what happened, or?
Oh, it was no. Well, I never saw the film with the music behind it in America, so we were told about it and told that it was it shot to #1, in England.
Yes.
Because of it, which, as we discussed, it's sort of a mixed feeling. It's a bittersweet way to get a hit record. But as we also said, that if the music went with the picture to inspire people to donate and to have some feeling about the situation, it's just a great thing,
Elliot, oh, sorry, Andy.
No, you go.
Would you say that was one of your most memorable concerts?
Wow.
There must be loads.
I'm telling you, there's so many, we had such a great career. I do remember the first time we came to England to play, and we played the Lyceum, and we also played Rock Goes to College, a TV show from Oxford University, like from the Student Union building, right?
Yeah.
And somebody had some of those Amsterdam space cakes, we'll say. some sort of brownies. And I don't remember a lot of that show, but fortunately it was filmed. And I guess I guess I was on autopilot because it sounds pretty good.
I've watched bits of it. It's good. It's fine. You did well. You got through it, as they say. You know what I mean? It's.
But I'll tell you what. That whole first album was basically our club set for the first year of the band's existence. So when it came time to make the record, it was fast because we knew what we'd been playing those songs in clubs and had all our bits worked out already and everything. So we went to London, winter '77, to make the record at Air London on Oxford Street with Roy Thomas Baker. And the record took 12 days to make.
12?
12 days. And I did and on my mother's memory, I did all my guitar parts in a day and a half. Wow. Sick with some kind of food poisoning from some canned ravioli over there.
Nice.
The engineer at Air, they had the vending machines, and they had hot little cans of food. And
oh no!
And Jeff engineer. Oh please wait. So the engineer Jeff Workman used to buy this chicken madras, and he called it afterbirth casserole.
That sounds absolutely
and that's where I got turned on to those little chocolate penguin bars.
Oh, penguins.
Yeah.
Chicken with penguin.
Yeah, but oh God, I was sick as a dog. I was so sick, and I just got through it. But I swear to you, a session and a half with all the guitars on that album.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
And it's still selling.
Sorry, Elliot. I mean, is that the punk rock spirit? Is it the because you're obviously I've read you're in bands before. Were they kind of loud bands or a similar style, or was it always that kind of thing? Or
well, it wasn't sort of that. The reason for it being so quick wasn't any sort of a punk DIY ethic or anything like that. It's just because we were so prepared and so well rehearsed. My mom is a Juilliard trained singer, and I started on guitar at 3. Jeez. So I don't really consider myself a punk rocker because I've been playing music for my whole life, and I'm not one of those 3 chords, kind of guy, where if it's in tune, it sucks, I mean, and we talked about this too. Also in America, punk rock wasn't really sort of like an economic response or a political statement. We didn't know it being on the dole meant or anything like that. It was just, we just were sick of ELO and Yes and guys floating around with capes, and Merlin hats on. We just wanted to get back to rocking,
Yeah,
and
no, I get it. Was that when you?
You know what? It's the same exact thing that happened in the '60s. There was this sort of hangover, psychedelic hangover, with Sgt. Pepper and Traffic and Moody's and all the psychedelic records. And what happened? Big Pink, Get Back, Creedence Clearwater. It's the same thing. It kind of pulled it back in from all the pomp and all the extra,
Elliot, I did not read that you played in a version or a thing called Creedence Clearwater. Was that some of the guys? What's that about?
Yeah. It was Cosmo, Doug Clifford, the drummer.
Yeah.
Cosmo Factory is named for, and Stu Cook, the bass player.
Okay.
Basically, I mean, when Creedence ended, they were a trio because Tom Fogerty had passed away. Well, no, he hadn't passed away at that time, but he was out of the band. So it was just John and the two of them. So we had a singer who was kind of more or less a ringer. I mean, the guy sang better than John does now. He sang like John did, 70. And it was a really good band. It was really a lot of fun. It was different than the Cars because it was more sort of rootsy, and which is what I love anyway. And also had a more chance to sort of stretch out on guitar solos like Susie Q and Heard It Through the Grapevine, things like that. You could kind of like take your time and, do long guitar solos and stuff.
No, I get you.
And also, the fun of playing with one of those rhythm sections by which I mean like, Duck Dunn or Al Jackson or Charlie and Bill Wyman or any of those rhythm sections that have an identifiable sound, is so much fun as a guitar player to play to,
Yes,
because it's like this giant pillow you can lean back on, and they're going to make you sound good. You know what I mean? They know they've got your back, and they're going to catch all your little accents, and
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just good. It's just great. I mean, 2 weeks ago I played with the Lovin' Spoonful. Maybe you saw on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do a thing every year here in LA. A fellow named Paul Rock does this thing called the Wild Honey Orchestra for the Autism Think Tank. And every year they take another band. Last year we did the entire Kinks Preservation Hall Society album.
Wow.
And this year it was the Lovin' Spoonful. And we had the three surviving members, and John Sebastian asked for me by name because we'd met in New York in the Village, in Greenwich Village, at one of the guitar store where like Dylan and everybody buy their acoustic guitars and all the folkies.
Yeah.
And he heard me like finger picking like Mississippi John Hurt stuff and this and that. And he knew I played that stuff. So when he heard that I was part of this, he goes, "Oh, Elliot will be great. He could do the Zal stuff." And it was so great, man. It was like those guys kind of treated me like a kid brother. And
well, that's cool, Elliot. I'm conscientious. I don't know how long this is because we're going to use this for the broadcast. I know we're going to talk for hours. We speak for hours when we're online. Gemma, is there anything you wanted to ask? I think you had a couple of questions.
Yeah, I've got an important question for you, Elliot. In 1984, it was the first MTV Music Awards, and the Cars won the first ever Best Video award. How did that feel to be awarded that for the first one?
It felt good. It was great. I mean, it didn't mean what it does now, because now you say VMA Awards and everybody knows what that means.
Yeah.
But this was the first one.
Yeah, so all new to everybody.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask you: Are we sort of wrapping this up?
No. We're probably all right for another 5 minutes, but I don't want to go on forever.
Here's what I'm going to walk you into my house, and I'll show you the MTV Award.
Oh wow!
Video.
Here's we're in my studio.
Yay! Oh wow! Look, that's your home studio, Elliot.
Tiki's up there, and
wow! How nice!
And these are all my guitar cabinets, and you can see the doors are like tuck and roll upholstery, like hot rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if I do this backwards. All right. Going through the laundry room with very groovy wallpaper.
Nice.
All right. This is funny. Okay. We've entered the living room.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you can see here.
Very nice.
I can see your box Phantom. Is that the Phantom? Have I got that right?
Look at that. Whoa. I can see your swimming pool. That looks very inviting.
Hey, where'd you go? Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Oh, okay. So, there's outside.
Just a small swimming pool, Andy. Just a small
one. Tiny. I've got bigger in my bathroom myself, Gemma.
I'll tell you what. This one has a diving board, and they don't allow them anymore. So when we have to get it like recoded because there's some pipe rust coming through in areas, we might lose the diving board. But here's a little award section.
Oh,
look!
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And it says Video Music Award 1983-84 Best Video of the Year, Elliot Easton. Can you see it?
Yeah. That's
and right next to it, right here is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That is very cool. Yeah. Hold on, it's just put something on my screen, running out of time. We removed the point of it on your group meeting. So I'll just carry on. It's just being annoying. It's still recording. We're all right. We'll keep going.
Well, this is good fun, isn't it?
It is. Elliot, I'm going to let you go in a second. Well, I'm going to have to press the stop up because I think it's going to fill my hard drive with video in a second. Oh wow, look at those pictures. Oh look.
Amazing.
Oh wow. Oh wow, look at that. Oh wow. Well, Elliot, one day I intend to get over to yours. If you have offered me the invite one day, I'd love to come and see some of that stuff in it and dive off that diving board. So that would be good fun.
You're all welcome anytime.
All right, Elliot. I'm just going to hit
Gemma, you
stop.
too.
I'll hit stop, but we'll carry on talking. All right. Thank you for your time, Elliot. Thank you for this.